It's springtime in the state of Iowa, and that means, well, many different things. But the number one thing it means here in the state of Iowa is the Drake Relays. It's coming up here at the end of the month, April 23rd through the 26th. And Blake Boldin is the director of the Drake Relays. And Blake, everything coming together for the 115th running of this year's event. I guess I'll start the conversation this way. What's new for the Drake Relays this year?
Yeah, I mean, what isn't new is tradition. 115 years strong, and uh, what might be new. I mean, there's going to be a lot of new twists and a lot of new exciting features. Um, but one of the things that's going to be new is history. History is going to be made. We're going to see records set. I mean, like last year you may have asked me how are you going to top what happened the year before. Well, and then in 2024, despite a tornado that caused some delays and some problems, all kinds of challenges on both Friday and Saturday with weather. There were 22 meet records, I think it was, some unbelievable number. And you go, how are you going to top that? How can these athletes continue to do that? And it's going to happen again. I can guarantee it. And let's talk about some of those things. First, I'm going to go day by day, maybe just real quick. On Tuesday, when we really get started, I don't know, I should maybe even back up a little bit more. Wednesday, on Saturday, April 19th, we've got the Drake Road races, 5K, 10K, and half marathon. I know your listenership is in Northeast Iowa, and you've got a lot of sports following up there. And I'll just warn you, if you guys want to come down for a 5K, 10K, half marathon, don't bother. You can't. It's sold out. Mark your calendars for 2026. We're already done selling registrations and have been for a few days. And it will be of the 57 versions of that race. It will be in the five largest. I mean, we're moderate and it's a significant growth, our largest since before the pandemic. But we were conservative in our growth projections, and so we only bought so many shirts and medals, and we sold out of those on April 1st, and it wasn't an April Fool's joke.
Wow.
We wished we had more shirts and medals. Um, in fact, we've got a great vendor that's helped us source a few more, just to expand a little bit. But those 100 that we got, I think we got about 100 more, 150 more, was just meant to meet that initial demand in terms of a wait list. So there we go. We're already off to our first relays record in terms of our earliest sellout ever for the Drake Road races. And then we turn the page. The next day will be Easter Sunday, so we'll take a day off. Everyone's going to rest on Easter Sunday, and then Monday we'll have the beautiful Bulldog contest. Could talk about that at length, but I'd really love to talk about track rather than how silly and fun the Bulldog costumes are. But if you get a chance, wherever you are in the state, to just put that on your bucket list for events, either as a family or in retirement, get down to Des Moines for that because you won't see anything like it anywhere else. It's so silly and great. But I'm more excited about the track meet. And on Tuesday, we really get going with athletic competition, and it's the Grand Blue Mile. It's the second largest 1 mile running event in America, behind only the Fifth Avenue Mile in New York City. So, as an Iowan, Darren, and I know you're as Iowan as the next guy, and I grew up in Iowa. I take special pride in saying, you know what? New York City's number one, Des Moines is number two. And that's a really big thing for me personally, but also for our community when we're able to on a Tuesday night in April just put together something that attracts athletes and media. It is for just a coincidence the day after the Boston Marathon. Marathon Monday, and then it's Mile Tuesday in Des Moines. And so that's the significance of these events and the way the world views the Grand Blue Mile. This year, for the ninth consecutive year, it will be the U.S. 1 mile championships. More importantly, this year, for the first time ever, it will be a selection event for Team USA. So Team USA that goes to compete at the World Championships will be named in downtown Des Moines. We have not announced fields, but we have announced one athlete that's competing there, and that's Shelby Houlihan from Sioux City, Iowa. She has returned to the sport indoors. She won a silver medal at the World Championships in China, of all places. And here we go outdoors. She's already targeting the U.S. 1 mile championships and her next spot on Team USA. And I'll take a breath and we'll talk about Wednesday night because Wednesday is going to be just as great. World record holder, three-time Olympic champion Ryan Krauser, just truly And I mean this in a figure of speech, but also literally, he's the biggest star in the sport, especially when you think of 6'8", 310 pounds. But then when you think of no other person ever having gotten 3 Olympic golds in the shot put, and just how he's become the definitive greatest of all time in what is a premier event. And he's going to go in our Hall of Fame on Thursday, April 24th. But before he does, he is going to continue to evolve and reinvent the sport of track and field by bringing to life this new format of competition that he has invented himself personally called World Shot Put Series. And it is going to be unlike any shot put competition the world has ever seen, where it will be an elimination style King of the Ring format that each throw will get progressively farther, like a pole vault bar or high jump bar, getting higher and higher, where each mark, there will be a sector mark that goes out. It will continue to move farther and farther. And each athlete will get 2 attempts. And if they can't make it, they're out of the competition. And it's going to be just for one, an experiment in history because he's creating it and he's got a good plan for it. And then we're going to broadcast it. It's going to be a blast, and we're excited to see what we can do.
That's it. Let's stop right there. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that idea. Seems like a simple idea once you bring it up. I'm kind of surprised nobody has thought of it before, but leave it up to a three-time Olympic gold medalist to kind of reinvigorate the sport a little bit there.
Yeah, and the logic behind it and the thinking behind it, Ryan sat down with a member of our content crew in his home gym. Um, and that story is now on our Facebook. We put it up yesterday morning. So if you go to @DrakeRelays on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, you can find this video. And he explains it. He says, "Hey, listen, when I think about LA 28, that's a long way away. I'm going to be in the sport. I'm going to go for gold again." He doesn't say it exactly like that, but I know that's what he's thinking. Um, and with that in mind, well, that's a long way away. So how does he continue to remain excited, continue to reinvent himself? And he's clearly spent as much time as anyone in the world standing in a shot put ring and thinking about how to promote and build excitement around what he does as a professional athlete. And here he is, like Tiger Woods, who and his business partners that created a new virtual golf competition. And it is very similar to that mentality to say, hey, the world of track and field is evolving. When we see Grand Slam track and what World Athletics has proposed in both the long jump and pole vault, and some of the changes that might be happening internationally. But here you see the world record holder, Olympic champion, taking matters into his own hands and reinventing it on his own. And the format doesn't fit World Athletics or USATF rules. And he says, I don't care. It's not for that. It's for NFL fans. It's for college fans. It's for sports fans. And I'm going to create a product that I think they might have interest in. So I'm inviting everybody now to come down to Des Moines and test it out and see. And we're going to be broadcasting it on MediaCom 22, and they're great partners. We're going to try and get it as many places as possible, like the Drake Athletics YouTube page and other places. So people in collaboration with Ryan to get it out to the world, because we're not trying to hold this concept hostage. In fact, we're trying to do all we can to help him innovate and push this forward.
And continue with the day-by-day schedule. You've broken it down pretty well to this point, but once you get into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, obviously you've got the world champions, you got the Olympians that are coming to town, and the coolest part of this Drake Relays is you can have a world champion and an Olympic champion going side by side and shoulder to shoulder in the infield with the small town Iowa kid out to set some records themselves. Take us through the rest of the week.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of the week, in a sense, has already started at every high school hallway in the state of Iowa, because every track meet, every high school team, I mean, it's going right now. It's out there right now as of today on Thursday, April 3rd. I don't have any notes in front of me, so I'm going off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it's 75 different boys have attained a blue standard. And there's 62 girls in the state of Iowa who have done the same. Last week, the girls were ahead of the boys. last night the boys must have had a good night across the state because I think we had 10 new marks just last night alone. And I think the girls had 2 last night. So the boys are, if we go boys versus girls in terms of who's performing better on these standards, right now it's the boys, but maybe by next week it'll be the girls again. But it's a terrific testament. I've been asked a couple times over the last couple days, is that weather? No, it's coaching, it's goal setting, it's training, it's aspiration. These kids, like I said, every hallway in Iowa, because I mean that's where I started as an athlete. It's too dang windy and cold and rainy when practice starts in February and March. You can't get outside, and we don't have indoor tracks. You start in a hallway, and that's where the kids begin aspiring to greatness in a hallway of their high school, and then they take to the outdoor track and that season really comes to life. So when we are embracing that and celebrating it in its greatest form, while also working with college coaches to create the best possible college and university division, and working with every agent in the world to identify the best opportunities to celebrate the sport at the world-class level. And in Drake Stadium this year, Thursday. So I'll talk, maybe we've got 4 sessions. We have Thursday night, we have Friday day, we have Friday night, and we have Saturday.
Yep.
Thursday night, it's for the first time ever, we've moved both the boys and girls high school long jump to Thursday. Um, we typically try to do one Friday morning and one Thursday, and then we alternate back and forth. This year, we think it's going to be a historic year in the long jump, especially for the girls. We think that there may be the first time ever in a single competition in the state of Iowa, uh, more than one girl over 20 feet in the same competition. So we do highlight the high school kids, and we appreciate the partnership we have with the coaches and those that support the sport at that level. And right alongside that, we're going to be featuring the distance carnival. The Icicerettes, the iconic Des Moines drum line will be in the stands, prodding on the distance runners to success. And in the men's steeplechase that night, we have, I believe, at last count, 3 athletes who are post-collegiates that are going to be going after the all-time Drake Relays record, trying to run, a U.S. championship qualifying, which is like an Olympic trials qualifier, in Drake Stadium on Thursday night. And there will be, you know, I would put the number at somewhere more than 100 of collegiate athletes that are chasing a national qualifying mark, NCAA, D1, D2, D3, NAIA. And that distance carnival becomes an opportunity for not just Midwestern collegiate athletes, but collegiate athletes from all over the country to come and get a mark before their conference meet in May. And the highlight of Thursday night may not even be in Drake Stadium. Now, technically, it will be in the North Throwing Fields. For the second year in a row, we've hired a DJ, and we're bringing back the Thursday night throwdown. We're hosting a World Athletics Continental Tour, so this is the highest level in the sport. Hammer throw for the men, hammer throw for the women, hammer throw for the men's javelin throw, and javelin throw for the women. So 4 long throws. And Darren, I know we talked about this last year, and what I said then, it remains as true today as it did then. It is the perfect combination of the artisanal footwork required of a ballet dancer and the brute force of ancient warfare. They're literally reaching max velocity, running down a runway like a long jumper, carrying a spear, and then cutting their stride and chucking a spear the length of a football field, while simultaneously next to them in the hammer throw have a 16-pound steel ball on the end of a 2-foot cable, and then delicately and very quickly spinning in a circle to get up to maximum rotational velocity and launch it the length of a football field. So, and then when those implements hit, particularly that weight throw, I can assure you, you do not want to be in its path. It is an object of destruction, and it's an art form, truly. And, we had hundreds of people out there last year. And that highlight of the event may have been Paralympic record holder and Iowa native Justin Fonksavon from Ankeny, who tragically in an accident lost the use of his legs and has since become a Paralympic record holder, and just an inspirational story for the world to see. And the seated javelin throw. And so we debuted the seated javelin throw last year. And Justin set a Drake Relays record, obviously, and he's coming back to do the same in 2025. And it's just one of those events. Just want to be there, and the ticket's only $15. No reason to miss that with high school long jump, some great high school distance running, some other throws events for the high school kids, and then world-class throwing events. And that's just Thursday, Darren.
And more fun to come on Friday. Tell us about it.
Yeah, Friday morning we'll start, of course, with the fan favorite, the Masters. It's mid-morning, about 10:30 in the morning, the Masters 800. That afternoon, we'll feature the high school 100-meter champions. We'll have some university 800-meter champions, some 4x4 prelims for the college division. Just a really robust schedule of track and field with a short break Friday. And then we're going to turn around on that break and come back on Friday night for a first of its kind family night at the Drake Relays. Over the last few years, if you've been there and seen the concourse underneath the video board, we've had a VIP reception area. We love our VIP guests. We love those donors and supporters. We're pausing that space, though, and we're going to relocate that hospitality. Instead, we're going to honor families. We're going to have a family fun zone where it will feature face painting for the kiddos, balloon animals, and inflatable, right where the athletes are, or the kids are going to see, have a front row view to some of the best track and field in the world, including the women's steeplechase, which we don't see at the high school level, and we don't run it a lot at the college level in the Midwest. But this is a World Athletics Continental Tour. We have at least 5 Olympians from 3 continents ready to go in this women's steeplechase. And you'll get to see them running 3,000 meters, so 7.5 laps, 7 times going through a water barrier, jumping on a barrier and splashing down just a few feet away from the family fun zone. So it's going to be a great night, and it ends at 9 p.m. with fireworks. So we're really going to, bring out the whole show and have a really great time for those kiddos to come and celebrate the Drake Relays on that Friday evening.
And to be fair, let's hope you provide the fireworks and not Mother Nature like Friday night last year.
That's right. That's right. That's well played. Yeah. So hopefully Mother Nature cooperates, and we don't have some of the issues that we ran into last year. But it's going to be a special night, not just on the track, but just to have see some of these memories and traditions passed down through generations in a new way.
And then you wrap it all up on Saturday. It'll be the last day, but definitely not the least day. More fun to be had.
All right. Darren, we single session ticket sales started today. And of course, that's why we're talking. We're trying to talk to build excitement and build awareness. Tickets for our all session tickets went on sale in February, and they've been going very well. We're 10% ahead year over year. But what I'll say is these single session on Saturday are going to go fast. Headed toward our 59th consecutive Saturday sellout. And then what I know is the high school kids in the 4x100 going to fill the stadium. And then they are not going to want to miss the rest of the day. In part, we've taken and changed how we integrate the high school event into the professional events. So we're going to go the university 4x1 that is part of our Relays Cup, and we're going to insert the high school shortly thereafter. So it'll go right in the middle of the TV window. And when all these celebrities are around, our high school 4x1 champions will be crowned. And on top of that, during that time, we're going to see a men's long jump that'll feature some of the world's best, just as a call it a warm-up act for the women's long jump, featuring reigning Olympic champion Tara Davis. Tara stole the show in Paris. Every attempt and in her celebration, she ran to meet her then fiance, Hunter Woodall, in the stands. Hunter, they became friends as collegiate athletes. She was a star at Texas. He was a 3-time All-American at Arkansas, an All-SEC performer in the 400. Also, while she's emerging as a world champion and an Olympic contender in the long jump, they begin a relationship. Hunter himself, an incredible collegiate athlete, also a double amputee, who then becomes a Paralympic star. And at the Paris Games, Tara won an Olympic gold, rushes to her fiance, embraces in a hug. Then, a couple weeks later, he becomes a Paralympic gold medalist. he rushes to the stands and greets his fiance, and they become the human interest story of the Paris Olympics and Paralympics. They become celebrities. People magazine readers know who these folks are. It's this human interest and love story that transcended the Olympics last year on NBC. And now, in their first competition as Olympians, as Olympic medalists, and as husband and wife, it will be on Saturday of Drake Relay. So we're going to see Tara in a long jump, and we're going to see Hunter Woodall in an open 400. It's part of the World Athletics Continental Tour. We have not announced that field yet, but we're not talking about a Paralympic event. We have a rich history of ambulatory Paralympic events. This is the world's best 400-meter runners, and Hunter wants a crack at them, and he wants to do it right in Drake Stadium. So it's going to be, we have at least one Olympic medalist confirmed already in that event as part of the team, as the Jamaican team that has medaled in the World Championships and Olympic Games. So it's going to be a star-studded field. And that's just two of our 11 professional events that day. Of course, Ryan Krauser, who we talked about, he's going to be taking on 4 other Olympic or World Championship medalists in the men's shot because, as we said, he's hosting this World Shot Put Series. As soon as that announcement came out and he started getting the word out, all the best dudes in America and all the dudes that live and train in North America want to be part of it because they want to be part of history. They want to be part of the fun, and they all want to stick around and compete in front of the fans at Drake Stadium. Now let's talk one last event. I've got a couple more things, I'm sure, but one more that we have to hit on Saturday. You're too young to remember this, but we have some friends in the media that remember April 26th, 1975. A young woman, excuse me, a young woman named Francie LaRue. She came to Drake to run the women's 1 mile. The women's 1 mile has a long history at Drake in that it started in 1971. Excuse me, prior to the enactment of Title IX. So before that Congress enacted and required equal opportunity in sports across the board, the Drake Relays was already hosting a women's 1 mile. And now this shouldn't be news to anyone in Iowa because Iowa has a long history of 6-on-6 basketball and girls sports. We're talking about women's sports, which is unique and different. It's distinct from girls sports. And so in 71, the women's 1 mile became a thing. 75, Francie LaRue Smith, who then she sets an impressive Drake Relays record and a Drake Stadium record. And I would mark that as the moment that women's middle distance turned from a sport to an art form in the Drake Relays and in Des Moines. Excuse me. So since that time, we've seen Jenny Simpson, who's now a Hall of Famer. We've seen Susie Favor Hamilton. We've seen the biggest stars in the sport that annually come to celebrate the art form that is women's middle distance. Wow, excuse me. Now, this year, on the 50th anniversary of that historic day, and again, a little bit, not to get too caught up in history, Francie LaRue Smith went to be a 5-time Olympian, Olympian in 3 different decades. And here we are now, 50 years, April 26th, 2025, her record still stands. So Shelby Houlihan, who we've already referenced in this call, from Sioux City, Iowa, so a reigning silver medalist from the World Championships, she's coming to take down that record. And once this word has gotten out, I'm telling you, Darren, every single day, another Olympian. So I've got 4 other Olympians from Europe that want to be part of this. We've got athletes from the NCAA. We've got other Olympic medalist contenders that they're racing to take a shot at this historic record. And, some pride on the line because, of course, Shelby is a big name and coming back. And I think there's going to be a lot. And we'll have more announcements in this women's 1 mile. But at 3:40 on Saturday afternoon, it's going to be the record is 4:40. I'm going to bet that we're going to have at least 10 women break it because the field is that good.
Wow.
And it's going to be a historic day it's going to be about 4.5 minutes that nobody's going to want to miss.
Sounds like a star-studded field for that event. In the big picture, in your position as Drake Relays director, you talk about respecting the history of this. Where is that fine line when you put together the Drake Relays every year of bringing back the events that people love, appreciating the history of one of the best track meets in America, but at the same time offering that splash of new stuff to keep the event as fresh as possible. I think everyone does that in event planning in any aspect that they're in. How do you do that in the world of track and field?
Yeah, that's a great question, Darren. So I'll just talk briefly about that. And that, it's a year-round planning. It's
Yep.
thinking, it's hearing, it's listening to coaches, it's talking, it's the constant process of just evaluating what makes the most sense. So I'll give an example of something that I saw in the 2019 or World Championships in Doha. At the time, they were calling it the mixed gender relay. Now it's just a mixed relay 4x4. And when it first debuted globally, they didn't have any stipulations. It was just 2 men, 2 women, and you could run any order. So it was pretty cool. It was kind of fun to see like the men trying to chase down women because they were going head to head in no particular order. Well, that event has evolved where it is now mandated at the global level, male, female, male, female, and it's a team of four. In fact, Team USA set the world record at the 2023 World Championships in Budapest, and I was there to see it. And it's just the most electric thing when these teams of both men and women, the world has embraced this event. And we saw it in Paris. The U.S. team, again, broke their own world record in the semifinals. And then Netherlands beat Team USA in the finals to take gold. And it's this big dramatic thing. Well, how could we do that at Drake? I've been thinking about that for a few years. Well, the NCAA, that's not going to work. As much as the Hawkeyes and Cyclones love the sport, they're going to worry about their jobs, and that's to
Yeah.
compete at the Big Ten and the Big 12 and the NCAA championships. So I'm not going to try it at the NCAA yet. That's just what it is. At the high school level, there's a lot of sanction issues, and there's just boys and girls are separate, and that's an important part of the history of Iowa. We've got a boys association and a girls union. I am not in this moment interested in trying to blend those two.
Mm.
And to do it with professionals, it gets expensive so fast. Just to get 8 or 10 of them, get to 12. How many teams could we run? Who would those people be? It would be expensive. Might be fun, but it would get expensive quick, and it's just a lot of moving parts and challenges. Where I saw we could do it and just have some fun, the middle school, because there's no sanction, and boy, it's just sport. It's just kids running around the track. So we've created that for Friday night. Who knows what it will be in the future, but the intention here is you're going to line up a boy and a girl, and a boy and a girl, and they have to run in that order. I just don't want to have any angry letters from a little boy getting run down by a little girl or vice versa. Just we're going to just keep the boys against the boys. They're going to all hand off to girls and then boys and then girls. And we're going to run 2 sections. One of which will be focused exclusively on Des Moines public schools, and basically find out, hey, which is the fastest middle school in town? And then the other section will be open to the 8 fastest teams or the fastest teams in central Iowa or in Iowa that enter. We're not going to limit it geographically aside from the states, but the times have to be verified from a middle school meet prior to the entry deadline. So who knows what that is, but it's our
Mhm.
chance to just like do a little bit of testing here and take what is globally a very popular event that builds excitement in a fan base. Um, and that's what's interesting about our sport. You can never possibly do that in football or even basketball, where you would put men and women competing in the exact same venue. But track and field is the purest and the best of all sports, and this is a really nice opportunity for us to test this concept.
And a final point I'll let you to make. You mentioned tickets are the session tickets are now on sale. How do people make sure they get in on all the fun, which is the Drake Relays 2025?
Yeah, thanks, Darren. DrakeRelays.org is the place to start. Meet schedule, athlete introductions, Hall of Fame announcements, all of those things. DrakeRelays.org, and right at the top of the page, there's a link for tickets. And like I said, we're going toward our 59th consecutive Saturday sellout. So you want to get those tickets now while the best seats are still available and before they're gone. And I'll just say one other thing. If you want to find out more about Ryan Krauser's Shot Put series, we did that interview with him explaining that's available on our Facebook and Instagram right now in its full form, about a 3-minute video. You might actually even get a sense for who he is, and just a down home guy that really loves the sport and loves working hard and is blessed with incredible athletic ability. So if you want to get a sense of who Ryan is and what we're going to be doing with the Drake Relays this year on Wednesday night, that's a good use of your 3 minutes.
Anything else you want to pass along? Obviously, you're full of information. You're full of enthusiasm for the best sporting event on a yearly basis in the state of Iowa. Anything else, as long as we got you here?
No, Darren, really appreciate your support. I've said this to you before, probably on live radio or you're covering the state track meet at one time or another. But just to say, thanks for what you do and what other media members in Iowa do. Earlier this week, I talked to a new media member from Iowa or to Iowa. Works at a TV station, and what he could not believe is how much he is asked to cover track. And what I would say is it is because of the Drake relays and the significance of the high school state meet, but it's also because that's what there are so many people who cover track well relative to other states and other markets, and you're one of them. And it helps tell the story of these kids that are maybe they're going to be Division I All-Americans, or maybe they'll be Olympians, or maybe they just get a varsity letter and have some fun along the way. But their story comes to life in their local community, and really give you special credit for that.
Well, I appreciate that, Blake. It's something that's truly ingrained in the state of Iowa, the track and field. You see it every April at Drake Stadium at the Drake Relays. You see it every May at the state track meet, and you see it at your local high school track meets and college track meets as well. Blake, we appreciate you taking the time to preview the Drake Relays with us. Always good to catch up with you, and best of luck with this year's events. And no matter what the weather it'll be, the sun will be shining in Des Moines at the end of April.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Darren. Really appreciate it.
Blake Boldin is the director of the Drake Relays, April 23rd through the 26th in Des Moines.